Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Just Sayin. I'm Shay, and holy shit, we have quite the episode for you. Cheris, what the hell are we talking about today?
That's right. Just saying, episode 31, we are recording on June 10th, 2025, and I'm going to give you the breakdown. Starting off, we got a little bit of NFL news because mini camps have started up. And,
Mandatory mini camps. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. And we got some signings, some players, no show. So, obviously, they're going to be fined every day they're not in mini camp. So we're going to talk about that, then move on to our bi-weekly MLB standings update and a little bit of news there as well. Moving on to NASCAR racing weekend, right into the turn 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Then sports news from around the world.
Yep.
Because we got some stuff to talk about that's not in North America.
Yeah.
This week.
Correct.
And the PWHL expansion draft took place last night, so we're going to recap that as well. And then, obviously, as always, the playoffs. But not just any time of the playoffs, it's the finals.
The finals.
The finals have begun. We're going to go over the Stanley Cup final, which people don't know, that's hockey. And then we're going to go over the NBA finals, games 1 and 2, because they were also very exciting. And it has been a great final so far. I cannot wait.
Yeah, for both leagues as well.
All right. So, without further ado, we're going to get into the NFL. Starting off with everyone's favorite prima donna and wanting to keep teams waiting and guessing. Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Officially, after at least a couple months of speculation, officially signs a 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's worth base salary $13.65 million. But there are $10 million guaranteed and can be worth up to $19.5 million with incentives and bonuses. What does this mean for the Steelers?
Yeah, first of all, he's not retiring. So that was the question. Is he going to retire this year or not? If he wasn't going to, a lot of people had him going to the Steelers or the Vikings. Chose the Steelers. I don't think it's a huge surprise. But he's, especially the second half of the year last year with the Jets, he did show that he still has plenty left in the tank. But it's just a one and done kind of thing. I could see this being his final season in the NFL. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, so obviously he can retire whenever he wants to, like we've already talked about. But the Steelers, I think it's still a good move. I don't know what they're going to do next year if he retires, but hey, you have a first ballot Hall of Famer, a quarterback. He can still throw the ball around, make the great and good decisions, and he still does not turn the ball over that much. So why not give it a go? See what happens, just to get knocked out on the wild card and still not have a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah, I am not as optimistic as you are. I do not think this moves the needle for the Steelers at all, and I don't think that this is a good move. However, they put themselves in a position where they didn't have any other option.
Yeah, exactly.
There was nobody else available in free agency of note, and via the trade route or whoever, there just wasn't anybody available, so Rodgers was their only option, basically holding the team hostage with his decision. And Steelers didn't draft a quarterback in the draft. If they're just what they've always been, a mediocre fringe playoff team that's a wild card exit, they're not going to get a good draft pick for next year to draft their next franchise quarterback. So I just think the Steelers have completely fumbled, no pun intended, this entire situation. Now, like you said, second half of the season, Aaron Rodgers did show that he can be, I would say, still a serviceable starter, but he's not the guy anymore, in my opinion, that's going to elevate a team that goes deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why you would think that, but all we can do is wait and see how the season goes. I should clarify, I'm not really optimistic for how they're going to be, but I think, especially considering their other two options at quarterback, Mason Rudolph and whoever else it was,
Yeah,
um,
it's definitely an upgrade.
it's the best choice.
Yeah. But like I said, pretty much it was their only option. But
Yeah.
don't worry, Steelers fans. You're still gonna have a 9-8 season. Tomlin's still gonna have his winning record. You're still gonna make the playoffs, and you're still gonna lose in the wild card. So continuity, good. Check.
Yeah, nothing's changing over there.
Yeah, and we'll get to some more Steelers news, which has to be a little concerning for fans. But first, Nick Chubb's time as a Brown is officially done.
It is.
I'm kind of sad about that. He signs a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans, coming off of yet another injury. Just last 6 seasons, he's had a lot of trouble staying on the field. A lot of bad luck in there too. So yeah, Chubb signs with the Texans, and now they have a little bit of a logjam, I would think, at running back with Joe Mixon and a few others. So
Yeah.
Who they might trade somebody, they might release somebody, who knows? But yeah, Nick Chubb is officially Houston Texan.
Yeah, it is sad. I agree. But the next thing, Seattle, the Seahawks, they make Pro Bowl punter Michael Dickinson, highest paid punter ever, with a 4-year, $16.2 million contract extension. I'm sure Pat McAfee is dancing around right now because, I mean, that's great news for punters out there. Well deserved. He's arguably the best punter in the whole league. He can pin teams, back, into their own goal line. Really, he's that good. So, well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah, no brainer for them.
Yeah, no brainer. Now, the Steelers. Here's a few players of note that, they're not attending the mandatory minicamp going on right now during the offseason. TJ Watt of the Steelers, Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals, Terry McLaurin with the Commanders. They're not attending. They're all seeking contract extensions. Also, Jalen Ramsey with the Dolphins and Jonnu Smith as well, not present with minicamp. So, Steelers fans, I would definitely be worried, but I think it's TJ Watt. You can't let go of TJ Watt. So I think you guys are going to end up okay after this. The Bengals, I mean, we've been talking about it forever now. I don't know what to think with the Bengals. And Terry McLaurin, I think, is pretty interesting with the Commanders. But I think they'll get him back, especially with Jaden Daniels at the helm. They want to have their best receiver with Daniels. And then the Dolphins, same thing. I don't know what's going on in Miami. They're a mess.
Yeah, for the Dolphins, we've talked about it, leading off with them. They're just in this weird spot. They're not good enough to be. They're like good enough to be a playoff team, even though they didn't make the playoffs this year. But they're not good enough. They're not a contender. So there's players frustrated in Miami now. They're seeing what they can do to still be in a competitive spot. So Pittsburgh was in on Jonnu Smith. Apparently, it's fizzled out, or they're still talking. We don't know. But Jalen Ramsey, obviously, they agreed to part ways. So for the Dolphins, it's I think they're just kind of in a weird spot right now. Steelers, TJ Watt, I think will re-sign with the Steelers.
Yeah,
they're going to pony up for him because it's TJ Watt.
Yeah,
Hendrickson, like you said, we've been talking just so tiredly. I honestly just wish they would trade him, just whatever they can get, just so this ends. But again, reports were saying before he's not attending minicamp that they're not close on extension at all. So that's not good news. My fear is that this is going to draw out into the regular season, and it's just going to create like this awkwardness in the locker room. I don't think Hendrickson is the type of player that like would cause a split in the locker room with this. I think he'll still go out and play his best football. But if the Bengals let him walk in free agency, I I think that would be a disaster not getting anything back for him.
I agree.
Being the back-to-back leader in sacks in the last 2 seasons, that would be a disaster. And for Terry McLaurin, I think the Commanders will re-sign him. I think with the season that he's had, you can't afford to lose him.
No.
So I don't think there's any worry there. But yeah, those are all the players of note. Interestingly, James Cook is at Bills minicamp, even though he is still seeking a new contract extension. So
Yeah.
maybe they're closer than some of these other players. But yeah. Also for the Bengals, moving on here, they released longtime Cincinnati Bengal linebacker Jermaine Pratt, team captain as well. They do save $5.9 million in cap space with this move. Way back when he did request a trade, seems like they couldn't find a partner, so they let him go. Also, the Green Bay Packers released cornerback Jair Alexander. Of note, he's only played 14 games the last 2 seasons, but before that, he has been a 2-time Pro Bowler, and Packers fans were sad to see him go.
Yeah.
They were sitting down trying to get a restructured contract in place and then tried to go the trade route. Obviously, didn't find anybody there, so they let him go.
Yeah, it's an interesting move there for Green Bay. Alexander, he's been injured the last 2 years, obviously, but I think there's definitely some teams that are going to be interested because his potential is still there. One of the best corners in all of football. Before the record-setting deals, I think last offseason and this offseason, he was the highest-paid corner in history. So, pretty surprising in my opinion, but I think he'll be able to find a home pretty quickly.
Yeah, my guess is he'll probably sign a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Just, okay, if you can stay healthy this season and keep up the production, then, seek a long-term extension after that.
Yeah.
But with this move too, the Packers do have a huge hole at cornerback that they need to fill. And with a lot of the players off the market in this position, that's going to be a little tough.
Yeah, probably going to have to do some trades or something. But ending on a good note here, I always personally love to end segments or topics that we talk about here on a good thing that doesn't get talked about a lot. So this is from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie is donating a $50 million gift to open the Lurie Autism Institute in partnership with Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and Penn Medicine. The gift from the Lurie family is the largest single donation to U.S. academic medical centers focused on autism research in history. So just applaud.
Wonderful.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift from Jeffrey Lurie and his family. Jeffrey, famously, his brother has autism, and the Eagles last season became the first team in pro sports in North America to open the first NFL team to open a sensory-friendly room in the stadium in Lincoln Financial Field for people with sensory issues, people with autism, to just relax and get away from all the noise and stuff. And Swoop, the mascot, goes in there and plays with the kids and people that need help. So just a beautiful moment, in my opinion. Even not even biased here as an Eagles fan. If this was any other team, that we would highlight this. This is just an awesome thing, and I'm proud that he's the owner of my favorite team. I really am.
Yeah, it's awesome. As myself, a person who is on the spectrum, this is amazing to hear. It's been really cool to see over the last couple decades here how far like autism research has gone, and just the education has gotten better.
Yeah,
a lot of people understand it more. So I love to hear this, and I go to hockey games and sports. I'm not the type of person that gets like super overwhelmed with the crowds, but it's really cool to hear like the sensory rooms and stuff that are accessible for people that do get bothered, overwhelmed by crowds. So
absolutely.
So very nice news. Good on Jeffrey Lurie. very nice. I always love to hear this kind of stuff from sports owners and
Yeah.
in
This
the
is
sports world.
this is what ownership should do for sports teams and
Absolutely.
for their cities. This cements their legacy, not the championships, not the players.
Yeah,
What they
impact
do
in the community.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, very nice. All right, moving on to baseball, and I can't believe it, but we're almost already halfway through the season.
That's right. Some teams are 66 games in here. Or that's we're around that number. So we're getting close to the halfway point of the year. So we're gonna do a little standings update here for you because some things have changed here since we did it last 2 weeks ago. So as per usual, starting in our division, the AL East, the New York Yankees still hold firm in first place at 39-25. They're still on a roll. They are 5-5 in their last 10 games. However, Aaron Judge is still Aaron Judge.
Leading in pretty much every major
Yeah.
hitting category right now.
Exactly. The Rays, though, they have moved into second place in the division at 36-30, 4 games behind the Yankees. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and we'll get to in a moment. Playing the Red Sox right now. Toronto actually tied with the Rays in second at 36-30 as well. The Red Sox have fallen back to 32-36, 9 games behind, and the Orioles. Sorry.
We will get to the Oilers later, Shay.
The Orioles have started to turn things around. They're 26-38, still at the bottom of the division, but they're 7-3 in their last 10. So they have started to turn things around. Will it continue?
Have a lot of ground to make up, though.
Luckily, it's still not even the halfway point, so they have plenty of time. But will it continue? That's the question. To the American League Central, Detroit leads at 43-24, and
they're actually the top team in baseball right now.
Exactly. 6-4 in their last 10. Minnesota in second, 7 games behind. Cleveland in third, 8 games behind. Kansas City in fourth in the division, 8.5 games behind. And the White Sox, 22-44. Still on pace to be better than last year, though.
Good news.
The AL West, Houston currently leads at 36-29. Seattle in second, 3 games behind. The Angels, they were hot. They have since slowed down a little bit. They're 31-34, now below 500, 5 games behind. Texas, 5.5 behind them, and the Athletics have really cooled off. Remember, I think it was 4 or 6 weeks ago we talked about their leading. Yeah,
leading. Yeah, they've kind of fallen off
big time. They're now 26-42, 11.5 games behind the Astros in first, and they are 3-7 in the last 10. So they have cooled off bad.
The Athletics, because they don't have anywhere to play right now.
Yeah. To the National League in the East, the Mets currently hold first after swapping places with the Phillies at 42-24. The Phillies are 4 games behind them. The Nationals in third, huge drop off, 11.5 games behind the Mets. The Braves, they did turn things around, but they are currently 2-8 in their last 10 games. Now 13.5 behind the Mets.
Yeah, that's a big gap.
And the Marlins are 24-40.
Yeah, and for the Mets, they do lead the NL in winning percentage.
And the National League Central, the Cubbies still up front at 40-26. St. Louis, 4 games behind them. Milwaukee, 5.5 behind. Cincinnati, 6.5 behind them in fourth. And Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll talk about them in a moment. But they are 13.5 games behind them, 27-40 record.
Jeez.
And right now, the closest division in baseball, the National League West, the Dodgers, still out in front. Still out in front, 40-27, but they only have a 1.5 game lead right now over the Giants in second place and a 2-game lead over the Padres in third.
Ooh,
and then
real tight.
Yeah, then it drops off a little bit. The Diamondbacks are 7.5 behind, and then the Colorado Rockies are 27 games behind, are currently 12-53.
So think about this. The first standings update that I can remember that we did, they only had 4 wins.
Yep.
They've only won what?
8 games.
Yeah.
Since then.
In a month.
Yeah.
With how many games teams play in a month? That is terrible.
They are on track to be eliminated from the playoffs come the All-Star break, which would be
a record.
Yeah, historic record.
Like by far.
Yes.
They're on a historic pace.
But baseball and sports are a funny thing. Last year, the White Sox were historically the worst team in baseball, and nobody went to their games. Right? So all the pictures, nobody was there.
Yeah.
This year, though, even though the Rockies are really worse right now, their fans are still showing up to Coors Light Field and even still selling out some games.
Yeah, that's damn. Imagine going to a Rockies game and just like, what's the probability of them losing? Like
80%.
80, yeah. Like, just think about that. Like, how many games they've won. You got like 85 and above probability to lose the game.
Yeah. And they're still showing up.
Hey, hats off to them.
Absolutely.
They're showing up and supporting their team. And I'm not going to sit there and bash a fan base for that at all.
No, not at all.
But yeah, on the team and ownership and management, that is, they should be eternally grateful for fans still showing up to the game.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, yeah, that is something. But yeah, we could do an entire podcast like breaking down the Rockies and like how everything's just going wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the standings update. I'm going to skip around a little bit here on our slide because the Tampa Bay Rays have had a really good run and they've kind of surprised me. They've gone 15-5 since May 19th. Now only 4 games behind the Yankees, like we mentioned. We are in the series with the Red Sox right now at Fenway. We did beat the Red Sox last night. A really good game, though, 10-8 in extra innings. Our prospect, Chandler Simpson, who was sent down this past week, but we did call him back up. He played in last night's game, had 5 hits. He sits now with a .285 batting average and 18 stolen bases in his first 35 MLB games. So he's speedy.
Making a big impact.
I think in the minors, like in 111 games, he had 104 stolen bases.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's doing well. Reports that I was reading though were saying that his offensive output is not like matching his batting average and stuff. So there is room for improvement, but he has definitely made a big impact on the team.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, especially with his speed. Another player got called up, this time on the Red Sox side. They called up number 1 prospect in all of baseball, the Roman Empire, outfielder Roman Anthony. He now joins the former number 2 prospect in all of baseball, Marcelo Meyer, who came up last month. Is this the jolt Boston needs after a disappointing start to the year? That is the question everybody, all sports analysts have been asking. I don't know. In true Red Sox fashion this year and last year, he went 0 for 4 last night in his debut, which happens a lot. Like baseball is very hard. It's your debut. Had a walk and an RBI, but he also got his first error in Major League Baseball before his first hit. So Red Sox lead the league in errors and in strikeouts. It's not winning baseball. But this kid, he had nothing left to learn in the minors. He could have made the team from spring training. He's been that good.
Got called up too after that 497-foot bomb.
Yes, the longest hit home run in any level of baseball this year. His power is unmatched. He hits with the best of them, like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. He also doesn't strike out a lot, and he walks a lot. So he has very good plate vision. He sees the ball very well. So There's a lot of upside here, but is it the spark we need? Can he jolt this offense and this team um, to where it needs to be? Because our offense has been a little better than last year after a rough start, but our pitching has been really disappointing. Garrett Crochet has been basically carrying the entire bullpen on his back.
Yeah, I believe he leads the league in strikeouts.
Yeah,
as a pitcher.
Yeah, he's been carrying the bullpen on his and the road starting rotation on his back. This new young kid, he's only 21 too. Like maybe his energy, his juice will spread through the team and be a good positive thing, but yet to be seen. We will see. But huge congratulations getting called up. It's always an emotional day and um, amazing experience. So I'm happy. I'm happy he's here and hopefully he gets to stick around.
Now, a question I have is because the MLB trade deadline's not that far away.
July, yeah.
With the Red Sox having so many top prospects and the number one prospect pool in baseball, does management have this idea of, okay, like we can still make the playoffs, let's push, and maybe they sell at the deadline to try to get some help? Or are they going to realize like, hey, we're not in this, let's just let this year play out, reevaluate? They missed the playoffs, obviously. What do you think happens?
I don't know. I think it's still too early to say. I think we have to get halfway through June or towards the end of June to have a better idea. Even if with Roman getting called up, and he doesn't add the juice that we need, he's not that spark. And we still continue to struggle, and we come to the trade deadline where instead of 4 or 5 games below 500, we're now like 12. I could see us just phoning in the season and building for next year. But if he is that spark and we do turn it around and get back to 500 or above 500, catch ground on the Rays and the Yankees, I could see us, especially with Meyer, Christian Campbell, and Roman Anthony, our young prospects all called up now. I could see us maybe selling some people to make room for them and bring in somebody big to help bolster the bullpen and the starting rotation to make a playoff push. But I would ask me again in, I don't know, 4 weeks maybe to really see where we're at.
Yeah, I just don't think the Red Sox too should make the same mistake they did last year and think like, oh, we're close, like let's go out and get some players, and it obviously didn't work out for them. So they need to make sure that they don't make that same mistake this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, moving on. A little bit of an interesting stat because it's not Aaron Judge or Ohtani or any of them. Catcher Cal Raleigh from the Seattle Mariners actually leads the league in home runs with 26.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Having a good year.
The Yankees and Dodgers pretty much lead in all hitting categories. They're 1 and 2 interchangeable.
Yeah.
As mentioned, Garrett Crochet leads the league in strikeouts. The Tigers have been really good in all of the pitching categories. A lot of their guys are top 5 there. When we finish the playoffs, we can definitely dive more into baseball stats and stuff.
Yeah.
But moving on, the tragedy of Paul Skeens. Man.
It's bad.
It's bad. He now has a 1.88 ERA, which, if you don't know, that's pretty good. Yeah. Has only given up 1 or less runs in his last 7 games, but he's now lost 8 total games for the year.
Yeah.
He could potentially win the Cy Young with a losing record. The Pirates suck. O'Neal Cruz or O'Neal De La Cruz, I think. One of their top guys. He's still doing well, but some of the young guys on this team have really stagnated in their development, which has got to be pretty concerning for Pirates fans. In 1 or 2 years, or maybe sooner, like, do we see Paul Skeens get traded because Pirates just aren't going anywhere? I would definitely be a little concerned as a Pirates fan. But for Paul Skeens, he has not been the reason the Pirates have been losing
No,
games.
no,
It's got to be really frustrating.
it's
for
pretty
him.
sad to see. An elite talent like Paul is, uh, if especially he knowing him like how he is, like he probably doesn't even want to win the Cy Young because he wins the Cy Young with a losing record. That's just gonna be like adding salt to the wound. Like, mm,
Yeah, like I had this great season, but my team's basically letting me down.
yeah, it's sad to see. He is arguably the best pitcher in baseball, um, but the Pirates just suck. They just suck, and I don't
And
know
we
how to
thought they were
fix
going to
it.
be better this year.
Yeah,
We really did.
yeah, I don't know how to fix it. I really don't.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with the Pirates and what they do towards the deadline if things keep going the way they are. But yeah, we're very sorry, Paul Skeens, for what you're going through right now.
Yeah, yeah, very sorry. Finally here on the MLB from the Hollywood Reporter.
Pretty cool news here.
Yeah,
Well,
Major League Baseball acquires stake in John Boy Media, which, if you don't know John Boy Media, you should check them out because, especially their breakdowns, are hilarious. They're awesome. But they will collaborate to bring players and celebrities into content creation. So, working together with John Boy to help grow the game and make it more entertaining and bring it to more fans. I think it's a great move. I mean, nothing bad about it. It's a perfect thing to do.
yeah, and this is something we've really start to seen in sports. The NFL been doing this. MLB has been doing this. Uh, NBA has been working together with some of their content creators as well.
Mm-hmm.
NHL, pay attention because there's a lot of good hockey content creators out there.
Yeah.
And but we all know the NHL is not good at making decisions. But yeah, really cool there. I think in today's social media landscape, using content creation and YouTube to advantage to the league's advantages is a very smart move.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
All right, moving on. NASCAR racing weekend.
We were in Michigan.
Start your engine.
We were in Michigan, and pretty big announcement, which a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. But a huge announcement. Dodge Ram announces its return to NASCAR by starting in the Truck Series in 2026. No news yet on the team and who's going to be driving or how long before they do get to the Cup Series, but they did say their plan is to get back to the top level of NASCAR, which is the Cup Series. They have been out of NASCAR since 2012. Since then, it has only been Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota. So this is a huge announcement, and I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we've said before, and I'll go down here as well. The next race after Michigan is in Mexico City, which is the first international race since the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
I think NASCAR this year has really started gaining traction with all the new, especially the media deals and being on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
So this just adds to that. I think this is really great for the sport. And they're gaining a lot of traction for sure.
Yeah, a lot of moves in the right direction here
Yeah.
for NASCAR. And then to recap the weekend, Denny Hamlin won his third race of the year at Michigan. Tire and fuel management were key in this race. I was able to watch it. A lot, especially towards the end, a lot of people were running out of fuel. Like William Byron had the lead for a long time, but ran out of fuel at the end because no cautions and just green flag racing a lot of the way through. So Hamlin did win. He was able to get enough fuel his final pit stop and baby it all the way to the end there. And that is now Denny Hamlin's 57th career Cup Series victory.
Yeah, great bounce back too after last race where there was an error at the pit stop and he did run out of fuel.
Yeah.
So good bounce back win, good bounce back from the pit crew. And for Denny Hamlin having another great regular season. But we all know for Denny, it's about the playoffs.
Exactly.
Can he get it done in the playoffs?
Exactly.
So yeah, that is NASCAR. We're gonna take our break now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that is NASCAR. We are now going to go on break. As always, thank you guys so much for listening up to this point. Again, reminder, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Comment down below. Any color.
What color subscribe button?
And yeah, we will see you back here very soon. And yeah, stick around.
Welcome back from our quick little break. Had to stretch a little bit, relieve some bladders, take a drink, So we're back, ready to go. Thank you, everyone, for listening up to this point. We appreciate it. We are moving on to the news. Coco Gauff. Wait, we're starting in tennis? What?
That's right.
Look at us branching out
Expanding.
here. Hell yeah. Coco Gauff wins her second major championship with the first win by an American at the French Open this past weekend since Serena Williams in 2015. So
joining some elite company there.
Congratulations to Coco Gauff. And here's something that neither of us knew about, but we are damn happy it's happening. The first ever women's professional softball league, the AUSL, which means Athletes Unlimited Softball League, has started on June 7th. Quick little breakdown of the league. There's only 4 teams, the Talons, Bandits, Colts, and Blaze. 32 games total, playing from June through July, and the games are played in Rosemont, Illinois, and Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, this is fantastic news. I mean, even though it's softball, I don't know exactly how much attention softball gets, but just another avenue for women's sports. And we talked about last week, I think women's sports is in the best position it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And this just proves it, continues. Women's sports continue to grow in every single league.
Yeah, and just like the NBA with the WNBA, Major League Baseball is going side by side with them and is full support. They are actually streaming or broadcasting half of the games this season on MLB Network, and the Major League Baseball social media accounts are promoting this AUSL a lot. So this league has baseball's full support, and I am extremely happy about it. And I can't wait to see what comes from it.
That's fantastic. We actually should have just named this slide "Women's Sports" because it is all about women's sports.
Pretty much, yeah.
Except for a couple things at the
bottom. Oh, wow.
Anyway, moving on to the PWHL. The expansion draft happened. Seattle and Vancouver obviously filling out their rosters for the upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to recap a little bit here.
Still no team names, by the way.
Yeah, no team names, no designs yet. But hopefully they are gas and not mid.
Hopefully.
Like the Frost. Back-to-back champions, but mid-name.
Yep.
All right, so for the initial signing window, PWHL Seattle signed former Fleet captain Hillary Knight. So she is heading all the way across the country.
Yep.
Charge forward Danielle Serdanchi, Victoire defenseman Kayla Barnes, Sirens forward Alex Carpenter, and Sirens goaltender Corrine Schroeder. So that is the Seattle. That is your first 5 members of PWHL Seattle signed in the initial window. Vancouver signed Scepters forward Sarah Nurse, which is pretty big there. Frost D, Claire Thompson, and defenseman Sophie Jacques. Probably butchered that. Yeah, and Frost D, so it's like Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No? Okay. Victoire forward Jen Gardner, and Charge goaltender Emirates Mashmeyer.
Yep.
Mashmeyer, probably. Uh, so that is the initial signings for the PWHL Vancouver and Seattle. So then we're going to have the expansion draft. But remember, if a team loses 2 players, they can protect the 4th. So these teams added these players to their protection list. Frost added forward Britta Curl Salimi, who had an amazing playoff run. New York Sirens added defenseman Maya Nylene Person to their protection list, and the Scepters added forward Emma Maltese, and the Fleet added forward Shea Maloney to their protected list prior to the expansion draft. And I'm sorry, I did not look up how to pronounce any of these names, so do with that what you will. So the expansion draft was held last night. It's just a meme at this point. 7 picks each for Seattle and Vancouver in snake order. And Vancouver selected first overall. So we are going to go over those picks right now.
Dun dun.
So first overall in the PWHL expansion draft was defensewoman, Ashton Bell from the Ottawa Charge. And then Seattle selected defense Aneta Cherylova.
Sure.
All right. From the Ottawa Charge. Then Seattle, with their second pick, selected Hannah Bilka, forward from the Boston Fleet. Then Vancouver selected forward Brooke McQuiggy from the Minnesota Frost. Then Vancouver selected forward Abby Barine from the Montreal Victoire. Seattle selects forward Jesse Eldridge from the New York Sirens. Seattle selected Julia Gosling with their next pick forward for the Toronto Scepters. Vancouver then selected forward Izzy Daniel from the Toronto Scepters. Vancouver then selected forward Gabby Rosenthal from the New York Sirens. These names are getting easier to pronounce as it goes along. With the next pick, PWHL Seattle selected defense Anna Wilgren from the Montreal Victoire. Seattle then selected defense Megan Carter from the Toronto Scepters. Vancouver then selects forward Denisa Krizova from the Minnesota Frost. A lot of symbols on the letters there. PWHL Vancouver selects defense Sydney Barn from the Boston Fleet. And then Seattle, with their final pick and the final pick of the draft, select defense Emily Brown from the Boston Fleet.
Okay.
So there are all your players in the expansion draft. It is in the books. Both teams now have their 12 player rosters.
Yeah.
To sum it all up, each team lost 4 players in the draft. Vancouver GM Kara Gardner prioritized defense with her first 2 selections, while Seattle fills out their top 6, led by GM Megan Turner.
All right. And then the PWHL draft is,
I think, June 24th, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, they'll be able to add some more young talent to their roster, and the Sirens will hold the first overall pick again, because I think they finished last.
Again.
Yeah, there's not a lottery. So
no.
So the Sirens will select first overall. We will dive a little bit deeper into that next week, go over the first overall pick and maybe a couple other players. But yeah, there's your initial players for Seattle and Vancouver. Both cities are super excited to have these teams. They've done a great job at the PR and getting the news out there. They're both going to be playing in their NHL arenas,
which is awesome,
which is fantastic. I'm really excited, especially for Seattle, because they just got a hockey team there too in 2021.
Yeah.
So I think expanding, especially to Seattle, was a really good move for them. So yeah, I am really excited for next season, and obviously my Minnesota Frost will be looking to three-peat in the first 3 seasons of the league.
Still a mid name though.
It is.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited too. Can't wait, especially to see the draft. A lot of teams were gutted here. They lost 4 players, so interesting to see how all these teams shape up after the draft, and maybe there's even some trades and everything. Who knows?
I was gonna say too, it's interesting how when the Bruins screwed over Marchand and then traded into Florida, that the Fleet let go of their captain as well.
I know they didn't screw her though.
But
so.
no.
Totally different.
Totally different situation. I thought it was a little interesting.
Yeah, totally different. But moving on to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
That's right.
Kucherov wins the Ted Lindsay for the second time in his career, which is, the award voted on by the players for the best player in the league.
That's
so
right.
Huge congratulations to Cooch. He had 121 points this season, and the Art Ross NHL Awards show is this Thursday at 6. The Norris, Vezina, and Hart among the awards to be announced.
Yeah, that's right. For Kucherov, high praise from his peers, voting him the best player in the league. That's gotta feel pretty good there.
For sure.
Obviously for the Lightning and their early first round exit again, I'm sure Cooch likes the award, but he's wanting to win just like the rest of the team. So we'll see if he can keep it up next season, and hopefully the Lightning can regroup and go on a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
In 2026.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see, but we all know the Bruins are going to miss the playoffs, and you're happy about that.
Yeah, I'm still happy about it. As long as we have Don Sweeney right now, still happy about it.
Yep, and you'll have him potentially at least the next 2 years. So that's great.
All right, moving on. The Canadiens defenseman Lane Hudson wins the Calder. Had 6 goals, 60 assists for 66 points.
And as a rookie defenseman, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
And a lot of people comment like, oh, well, he's not really great defensively. He's a young player. Usually young defensemen that come in the league, they have the offensive tools. The defensive game is lacking. It's very rare that a rookie comes in as great defensively.
Right.
And that just all comes from experience.
Yeah, exactly. But huge congratulations to him.
Yeah, he joins a very prestigious list of Montreal Canadiens that have won the Calder, because they obviously are a very storied franchise. So congratulations to Lane Hudson, and can't wait to see what he does next season, as also with the Montreal Canadiens, a very young team who made the playoffs this year.
Exactly.
All right, it is time.
There we go.
It is time. The Stanley Cup Finals, arguably the greatest trophy in all of pro sports.
Yeah.
On the line, brought out for the first game. Everybody knows what these players are playing for. Very electric atmosphere at Rogers Arena in Edmonton. First time either team has had home ice advantage all playoffs. So that does say something there. Starting off in game 1, it was one of the best hockey games I've ever seen. So we're going to go over it. I took notes on each of the 3 games, tried to sum it up the best I could. So here we go. For game 1, starting off, Oilers' Leon Draisaitl scores first. Lots of penalties in the first period, lots of whistles. These teams do not like each other, obviously being a rematch from last year. The Panthers score in the first, and it's challenged for goalie interference by head coach Chris Knobloch. However, in the paint, it shows that Brett Kulak trips Sam Bennett instead of Bennett making the contact on his own. So the challenge is unsuccessful. So now the Florida Panthers have tied it, and they are on the power play.
Yeah.
And Marchand makes him pay. He scores on the ensuing power play to make it 2-1 Florida.
Hell yeah, he does.
After the first period, though, the whistles did get put away. Like, they called everything in the first period, but in the second and third and overtime, put away. So I thought that was a little interesting, establishing kind of the standard.
Yeah.
Teams trade goals, though, early in the second. Bennett with a 3-1 to give the Panthers the 3-1 lead, but then Arvidsson responds for the Oilers, making it 3-2. Both teams very resilient, as both teams pressure this entire game. Even though the other team scored, they didn't let it get in their heads, didn't let it rattle them. Yeah. So I thought that was very impressive. But the Panthers in the second had tons of pressure, but Stuart Skinner with some great saves. He stays sharp, and every time the Oilers in this period especially tried to enter the Panthers zone or the neutral zone, Florida just a wall of players there with one player forechecking. So they were playing the trap pretty well there. In the third period, though, the Oilers do get more opportunities. McDavid with a pass from behind the net to Matthias Ekholm, and he ties the game at 3 apiece. The teams then trade chances, but we are going to overtime. And you can tell at the end of regulation, neither team wants to make a mistake, so they're very careful with the puck.
Yeah.
They're not taking huge gambles. So going into overtime, Panthers actually have the early jump, but Kasperi Kapanen splits the D and almost ends it. Would have been highlight reel goal there. Since the third period up to this point, the shots were 21-5 for the Oilers. But Panthers, Thomas Nosek takes a delay of game penalty in overtime, puts it right over the glass. And Leon Draisaitl scores on the power play from Perry and McDavid on a one-timer. The Oilers take game one 4-3 in overtime to lead the series 1-0.
And the arena was rocking, absolutely electric. Oh my god!
Yeah, this game, there's a stat called expected goals for, which basically tells you through like scoring chances and pressure and stuff. It gives a good reading of like if a team outplayed the other one. The Oilers had like 50.1 expected goals for, and the Panthers were like at 49.9. So
yeah,
this was a very evenly played game.
Yeah, great first game, but then we go into game two, still up in Edmonton. The teams did pick up right where they left off. A lot of early penalties. The Oilers, though, were sloppy in their zone. Bennett scores first on the Florida power play in the 5-hole to make it 1-0. Kane scores off a turnover, though, to tie the game 1-1. Bouchard then scores on a 4-on-4, off a second chance to give the Oilers the 2-1 lead. The Panthers, though, would answer. Luostarinen to Jones cross ice ties the game 2-2 for Florida after the turnover. Then Sam Bennett then goes to the box for goalie interference on Skinner. Ekholm took him down, and Stu kind of sells,
He did.
a little floppy. But then the chosen one. Our savior. Oh, some thunder there. There we go. Mick Jesus.
For all the religious people out there, that might have been God saying no.
Yeah. Mick Jesus himself with an absolutely nasty, filthy, disgusting, insert synonym here, deke, going around Barkov,
who is one of the best defensive players in the game,
and Ekblad, who,
top defenseman.
Ankles got broken. Passes to Draisaitl, who one times it right into the net. 3-2 lead for the Oilers.
Yeah, this assist, like I was talking to Shay, McDavid does this in regular season, like it's like awesome, but it's like
it's McDavid.
It's McDavid, But in the Stanley Cup final against the best team in the league, defending champions, and around the Selke winner Barkov and top defenseman Ekblad, just oh my goodness. And Bouchard's reaction, putting his hands on his head after, like it was just so cool.
And
it was so good that Draisaitl actually told McDavid to go first in the handshake line or the fist bump line, even though he scored the goal.
Just filthy. God damn. 3-2 lead for the Oilers after McJesus. Panthers then do kill off a 5-on-3. The teams trade a lot of chances here. The Panthers then cycle, and Kulikov ties it from the blue line 3-3 here in the second. Then, my guy, Brad Marchand then scores shorthanded, which, that's his MO, from the 5-hole, 4-3 Panthers. Finish the kill.
Yeah, so if you don't know 5-hole, it's just right between the legs of the goaltender. A lot of goals so far have actually been scored on Skinner 5-hole, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, scoring shorthanded and then finishing the kill could be a huge momentum shifter.
Yeah.
Because if you score shorthanded, the other team's still on the power play, but you finish that kill. Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Florida with immense pressure here. The third period was a lot of one and done for both teams defending very well. Skinner pulled though with 2:33 to go to give the Oilers that extra man. Panthers clear though, and Bobby
Officer Bob in the net
with some great saves. Perry buries a loose puck to tie it though 4-4. Latest game time goal in Stanley Cup final history, which was what, 18 seconds left, right? Or 8 seconds left, something like that.
Yeah, it was like around 18 or 20 seconds. This guy's 4 years old, playing in his 5th Stanley Cup final in 6 years, and he's been fantastic for the Oilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the third period, a lot of one and done for both teams. They were both defending very well. Florida with a lot of pressure early in that period, but like you said, goalie pulled, extra attacker. Oilers find a way to tie it.
That's right. Oilers jump early in overtime. A break for Reinhart and miss, though. Skinner with some fantastic saves in overtime. Rodriguez puts one, though, behind Skinner, but goes wide.
Yeah, this was insane. Like, it got behind Skinner and just flew right in between the net, and he could not believe it.
Double overtime. Now, teams do trade chances. Break for Brad Marchand, and I mean, typical Marchand fashion, he wins the game 5-4. With the 5-hole on Skinner again.
Yeah.
Might need a save there.
So if you watch it, like Marchand, he goes forehand, backhand, but he doesn't quite get it on the forehand. So Skinner overcommits to that left side, and it just trickles in. Right in between his legs. And I'm just like, oh man, like he was fantastic that game, but I'm like, oh, that's
one you want back. Yeah. So now that's game 2. The Panthers win and tie it up 1-1, and they fly back down to Sunrise. Take that very long flight to Sunrise, Florida.
Yeah. So just a little quick summary of the first 2 games. Florida, with not having home ice advantage, this is exactly what they want. They want that split. Tied 1-1. They're now at home the next 2 games.
Yep.
They could potentially take a 3-1 series lead. So they did the job. Oilers, though, like, hey, they've played fantastic. I think both teams have been super close up to this point. Skinner, fantastic saves. But like we said, the 5-hole has been a little bit of a problem. The winner that Marchand got, I'm like, it's kind of, but still been great. Right there with Bobrovsky. In my opinion, through the first 2 games, and we'll get to game 3 because, oh my God. But there were a lot of high danger chances for Florida, like more high danger quality chances, in my opinion. But the Oilers, like, just kept shooting the puck on net, and they capitalized on their opportunities when they needed to.
Yeah.
And for Florida, if it's a 4-on-4, McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, the big boys, that's what they like. They like that open ice. They can do a lot. So even though it's a 4-on-4, I think that hurts the Panthers. And if you're either team, you need to stay out of the box. Special teams up to this point have played a huge role in games.
Like we thought.
Yeah. So, yeah. Those are the first 2 games. Very even. Series is tied. Honestly, those games could have gone either way, in my opinion. But now we got game 3. And game 3 was just a complete and utter meltdown for one team.
Yeah.
So, Marchand, after having the double overtime winner last game, opens the scoring early. Actually, the first player to score an overtime winner and then open the scoring in the next game in Stanley Cup Finals history. And yeah, I didn't take many notes on this game because the Oilers just had a complete and utter emotional meltdown.
Yeah.
Super undisciplined. taking a bunch of penalties. They were trying to draw the Panthers in by scrumming almost every single whistle. There was a scrum in front of the net.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the Panthers want.
Yeah,
they want to get in the heads of their opponents. They throw them off their game. Marchand, oh my God, chirping all night. Scored a goal on on one, went right to the Oilers bench saying like you all need to use your effing heads. Yeah,
classic.
He did exactly what Marchand does best.
Yeah.
Florida ended up winning 6-1 off of goals from Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Reinhart, Sam Bennett, Aaron Ekblad, and Evan Rodriguez. 140 total penalty minutes in this game. Oilers go 1 for 6 on the power play, and Florida goes 3 for 11.
Yeah.
So think about that. That is over a period of this game where Florida was on the power play.
Yeah, that's
You're
insane.
not going to win a game like that.
Not at all.
It's impossible.
Not at all.
Again, Marchand their heads all night. Third period, halfway through, complete chaos. Multiple fights. Guys are getting thrown out of the game. 10-minute misconduct for you. 10-minute misconduct for you. Yeah. All game. Punches thrown. And not going to lie, even though it was a blowout, this game was very entertaining. But yeah. I thought, especially in the third period, the Oilers were going to, be like, all right, boys, we need to wake the fuck up and stop, doing this because this is what the Panthers want us to do.
Yeah. But no.
Yeah, there was not one single Oilers player that I could pinpoint that was effective tonight or last night. It was that bad.
Yeah.
So Florida, after that Game 3 blowout, leads the series 2-1. Game 4 is Thursday at 8 p.m. And for the Oilers, they need to find a response and quick. I think they might be in some trouble here.
Yeah, I agree. I think they need their offense to show up for Game 4, and Skinner needs to get back to being Skinner.
Yeah, Skinner too was pulled after the 5th goal, but I wouldn't put a lot on Skinner. Like there was a 2-on-0 break for Bennett. Deke buried, not really much you can do.
Yeah.
One of the goals was a cross ice pass, buried, pass from behind the net. So a lot of just defensive breakdowns from the Oilers. That's how a lot of goals are scored too. It's those cross ice passes and buried behind the net.
Yeah, exactly. But I agree. They do need to rebound. They have to stay out of the box. They can't, like you said, they're not going to win the game with over a period being played in the box. So
shorthanded. Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. Hey, if anyone can do it though, I think it is the Oilers. I think they'll be okay. I think they're going to rebound.
I think they will too. I think they are going to rebound. They need to be a lot more disciplined, which I think will happen. But we will see. They need to tie this series.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot afford to go down 3-1 against the defending champs.
If they do tie it Thursday, then when it goes back to Edmonton, oh my God, that place is going to be wild.
Yeah. So yeah, for the Oilers, they need to find a response. For Florida, just keep doing what you're doing because it worked. So yeah, it's all the pressure's on the Oilers right now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on to the other final series, the NBA Finals. It's not called like the Larry O'Brien Finals or anything like that, like hockey, but
nope,
it's still the NBA Finals.
NBA Finals, fighting for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So Game 1, again, this is between the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder. Halliburton does it again, people. A game-winning shot. My God. Step back and drains it from a distance to steal one in OKC, 111-110. Pascal Siakam with 19 and 6 players total with 10-plus points for the Pacers. SGA did have 38, though, and OKC played great defense all game on the pick and roll. Crisscross defense and taking away space, cruising to victory until the last 3 minutes of the game. Indiana again comes back. down by 9 points. They create mismatches with double covers, open up shots from distance, and then in clutch time. Siakam out of bounds at 22 seconds. Shaq shocked. Shaquille O'Neal shocked on Tyrese's shot. I mean,
Yeah, when you
just
hit,
crazy.
You saw him like on court side.
Yeah,
and he's just like,
yeah,
got his mouth open. If you can impress Shaq, you're doing something right.
yeah, right, exactly. Just a wild game one here to start the NBA Finals. Tyrese, he's still overrated. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. First game, first impression. Both teams played really good, honestly. Um, and it honestly, like those last 3 minutes, yeah, they were down by 9, but the Pacers are just so good
Mm-hmm.
in the fourth quarter. I don't even think OKC really had like a meltdown.
Yeah.
They just didn't get the shots when they needed to, unfortunately. And Pacers lead 1-0 going into game 2. Yeah, and again, like Pacers, every player is contributing. It's a team effort. But we will get to a question about that. But yeah, great defense by OKC, like we said. Anytime player had the ball, they played man on man where player picks a guy, someone's in the middle of the court, and they executed perfectly. Like I said, literally right up until the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
From the highlights that I watched. So going into game 2, OKC outplays in the first half, and this is where the game really got away from the Pacers. They outscored Indiana 59-41, and after that, the Pacers just could not close the gap. OKC won 123-107 on a great collective effort, both on offense and defense.
Yeah.
Indiana did have 7 players who scored 10 plus points, with Halliburton leading the way with 17. But OKC, their big men, really stepped up. 5 players with 15 plus points. SGA led again, no surprise, with 34 points and combined to score or assist on OKC's first 50 points of the game.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins with 38 points combined off of the bench.
Pretty good.
Which is great. The series is now tied 1-1 going to Indiana. Game 3 tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you're the Pacers, this is also what you want. You wanted that split in OKC. Now you're going home to Indiana.
Yeah.
You've been so good at home all these playoffs. So I don't think they need to, do much. Obviously, that first half was bad, but they did rebound the second half. Just too big of a gap to close.
Yeah, I think this series is a little different compared to the NHL right now. I don't think both teams like the NHL have been playing very, very good, but I don't think one team has like dropped the ball. Pun intended.
No, not yet.
Not yet here. Again, game 3, the 11th at 8:30 p.m. But both teams playing very, very well. I think this is just like the NHL, evenly matched finals, and could go the distance to 7 games. So I'm pretty impressed with both finals, how they are right now. Both very entertaining. And I think the Pacers, if they are going to win, they just keep doing what they're doing. I don't think they really have to change anything. Halliburton is definitely the leader, and he is showing that for sure, but they're getting contributions from all over the team. They just need to keep doing what they're doing because they believe in themselves, and they prove that they can go fucking win on that. OKC, I also don't think they need to change much. They just can't get caught in the moment and think their lead is safe because Indiana will come back.
Yeah, they've now had 4 comeback wins in the fourth quarter of these playoffs, which is insane.
Yes,
by multiple points.
Exactly.
But I did want to ask a question, and I know you kind of answered it already because we both believe that both teams don't really need to change anything. But for the Pacers to really win this series, does somebody on their team like need to go off like an SGA, put up 38, 40 plus points? Um, you know, is the depth going to sustain the Pacers all the way to the championship? Or, when it's not working, like, okay, Halliburton needs to step up and do it himself, or Pascal Siakam needs to do that. Yeah, that's kind of my question. And I was watching a little bit of the after game two,
Mhm.
ESPN. Um, Stephen Smith was saying like during that game, Halliburton kind of disappeared for like the first 40 minutes, but then when it was clutch time, he started scoring. Do their top players like disappear for long stretches, or is there like a lot of consistency there? Because like coming back is really impressive in my personal opinion, but is it sustainable? Is the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous way to play for sure. Because even though you come back, you can still lose by 1 point or 2 points because you just couldn't come back all the way. It's sustainable though. It's just a dangerous way to play, and it's not something I would be comfortable with if I were a coach or like an executive of that team for sure. But no, it's sustainable. The Pacers have proved that it is all playoffs, so um, they can do it. I think that's fine. And do it. Do they need someone to step up? I don't. I don't think so. I mean, Halliburton's I think gonna keep being Tyrese Halliburton and have big games and have bigger games down the stretch. And as long as they keep getting contributions from the rest of their team, 5, 6, 7 players having 10 plus points, adding to that offense, I I think they'll be okay. They'll be right there with OKC.
Yeah, I would agree. Like I think the second game, I think they just had a bad first half. Like
Yeah.
that was it. Defensively, Chet Holmgren had 55% shooting in that game,
Yeah.
15 points. And then obviously Caruso and Wiggins off the bench. Like they just were the better team.
Right.
So I agree with you. I don't think the Pacers need to be super concerned. They're at home. They're in front of their home crowd. Um, I think the pressure is mostly going to be on OKC,
Agreed.
being away. So we'll see if both teams can keep up what they're doing and what happens for game 3.
Yeah, we will.
All right. That is going to do it for this episode of Just Saying. Fantastic episode, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And having a lot of fun recapping the finals and really getting into detail for the games. I love that. Love the discussion. So thank you guys so much for listening to the show. If you have been with us the entire way, we appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
If you're on YouTube, guess what? You get day early access to the show. Congrats. I bet you didn't know that. So if you didn't know that, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
What
But
color?
any color.
Okay, good.
Black, white, red, green, purple, whatever. And don't forget to like the podcast. Check out our other YouTube videos. We've been trying to post more videos. We got
New one coming out.
Yep, we got tier list coming out. We got draft videos coming out. So look forward to that. Liking the videos helps them out a ton with the algorithm. Make sure to comment down below on anything that we've talked about. We'd love to get in on the discussion with you all.
Yeah.
And don't forget to follow our socials too, which will be linked in the description, where we make posts about stuff that we don't talk about in the show and give some game time reactions. And yeah. Anything else to add?
No, just be on the lookout next week, recapping more of the finals in both the NBA and the NHL going on. Could we have a champion by next week? Maybe. I hope not. I think both series could go 7. Recapping NASCAR in Mexico City. That's going to be exciting. And anything else the wide world of sports has to throw our way.
That's right. And I forgot, if you listen on Spotify or anything else, we still love you. We still pay attention.
That's right. We do. But come you
just come to the dark side. All right. So yeah, that is going to do it. Again, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next week.